Yeah, I'm going to teach y'all two really important tools for OnShape particular today. These are also used in 3D designs everywhere. So if you use any kind of software that is like from an engineering standpoint, you're going to see these tools and they're going to be really helpful to you. First thing that we need to do is go to that home screen and we're going to, let's see, I'm going to go to my folder and I'm going to click on IED practice. And we should have all of our shapes. We should have like a construct building block second period. Y'all have that, right? Okay, so what I want us to do is I want us to make a copy of this. I don't want to use the exact same file. I want to make a copy of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, that's two taps with the Chromebook, and I'm going to hit copy. Does that say workspace or I'm way far back here? Yeah, copy workspace. We're going to click copy workspace and then I need to rename it. And we're going to name it Fillet, Fillet, is pronounced Phil dash it. Okay? That's your document name. Fillet is pronounced Phil dash it. That is the document name. Now, I know everybody looks at that and they're like, that's a fillet. A fillet is a fish. A fillet is what we're actually going to be doing in the 3D modeling. They are spelled the same, they are pronounced differently. So we're going to learn how to fillet, and we're also going to learn how to chamfer today. But y'all are much easier at pronouncing chamfer than y'all are at pronouncing fillet. Because I know, and sometimes I'll accidentally say fillet too. So if I do that, just correct me and we'll be fine. What's up? So you need to make a screenshot of it. So hit Control and the 6 button over, and it will create a screenshot of it, and then you can attach it from your Google Drive. You're going to need to do that with all 6 shapes. So there's 6 pictures you're going to have to take. All right. So you should have a copy of all of these 6 different shapes, and I want to click on. Let's see. Let's go for the short block. I think we called it fat block. I'm going to go for this guy. Okay, so go ahead and pull up this guy. We're going to make some modifications to it. Since we already made these shapes, there's no need in making an entirely new shape. We should just work with what we got. And there is a button up at the top that looks like a rounded off edge. And notice it says fillet. Okay, Fillet, fillet. So we're just loading up the fat block. And you should just have your 3D modeling screen right here. Yeah, we can use a fillet in one of two ways. Fillet button should be like this guy. It's right up close to the top, and then it's what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 buttons over. Fillet, Fillet. If you click it, you use fillets on an edge. So if you click on the top part, it's not really going to be super useful, but you want to use it on a specific edge. And what it does is it creates a. Oops, I almost clicked on the face. No, don't click on the face. Okay, there's the edge. If you click on the edge, it will actually round off that edge. So instead of having a sharp edge, it looks like you took sandpaper to it and you just rounded it down. You can change the radius value, and the radius value, as you increase the radius value, so I'm going to change it from 0.2 to 0.5. As you increase the radius value, the rounded part gets bigger and bigger, okay? So this is actually a really interesting way to make semicircles. So if you have one side filleted and it actually goes all the way to the halfway point like this, if I click on the other side, it rounds off both sides, and I then have a semicircle or a half circle, or whatever you want to call it, a rounded edge. Okay, so I'm going to click on both of those sides, and it's going to fillet both sides like that. Okay, does that kind of make sense? I'm going to flip over to the other side, and I'm going to practice on the other side as well too, because you can use the fillet on all 4 sides, and it makes a rounded edge all the way across. So if I go fillet, fillet, and sometimes it takes a little while to think, so and then fillet. If you clicked, chances are it's actually going to do it. And I'm going to move over to the other side. So just fillet all 4 edges, and it'll create like a rounded edge. So if you fillet 2 edges to each other, it creates like this rounded edge on the side. So it's like you're actually moving it down. If you make the radius 0.5, I think this will work. You should have, yeah, see it'll round off all the edges up to a specific point. Now, since this is in 2 dimensions, it's not completely, it doesn't look completely round. It's kind of like an odd shape. I don't really know what to call that. But it's not a sphere, so like, I don't know. I don't know what to call it. Close enough though. Kind of makes like a rounded edge. Okay, and I'm going to click the green check mark and say, yeah, I like this. Notice an isometric view, it looks kind of weird, but that's okay. So now you have a rounded edge over here, and up on the top, we have this filleted side. Okay, this is how we use a fillet. So if we want a side rounded, you can use a fillet to be able to have that work. You can also, let's go to, is everybody okay with that before I move on? It does hooty wuddy. Um, that's okay. It all depends on what you made your radius value. So as long as you can like click on the fillet and it'll actually round off for you, that's what you need. Let's go to long block. So I'm going to click on long block and we're going to make a sketch on long block. So I'm going to go to the front view of long block, which looks like this. If this ends up being your side view, that's okay as well. And I'm going to make a sketch on long block. So I'm going to click the sketch button and then I'm going to click on the long block face. Don't click on, see this border right here that says front? See how it highlights? Don't click on that. You want to click on the actual face of the object. Sketch and then the front side. Yep. Sketch and then front side. We should be able to make a sketch now. And if you notice, there's also a fillet button here, and it's called a sketch fillet instead of a regular fillet. You can use fillets in sketch mode, and you can also use fillets in 3D mode. A 3D mode makes a 3D fillet. A sketch fillet makes a 2D fillet. So if you ever need to round an edge, you can totally do that. I'm going to use the rectangle tool, and I'm just going to make a rectangle inside here. I don't care what the units are. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to hit enter, enter, and I'm good. Look at that rectangle. It is nice and asymmetrical and completely nasty. If you are a perfectionist, that should bother you a little bit. Um, sorry. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to click the fillet, sketch fillet tool. And if you click on it, how you actually make a fillet work in a sketch is you click one side and then you click the side that's right next to it and it will round off the corner. Okay. And if you actually need to make it to multiple sides, you can continue doing that all on one operation. So if I want to round off all 4 of these sides, I can just keep clicking around on the sides. Let's see here. I may have lied to you. That may be an inventor thing. Ooh, ooh. There's one. And if I click on this one, doesn't look like it rounds it off. I may have lied to you. Sorry. Click the green check mark, and then you may have to do it more than once. And then sketch fillet. Interesting. Fillet tool. Click. Click. So you do click, click, and then hit enter? Yeah, yeah. You got to click on both sides, and then you got to hit enter. Okay. Or just click on all the corners, like the actual vertex corner. I'm going to try that. Let's try this. OnShape has some neat things that I haven't explored completely yet. So if you click on like just that corner, oh my gosh, looks like it works. Okay, so like if you just click on that dot, yeah, it rounds all of them. So I'm going to click on all 4 corners, and then I'm going to click the green check mark, and then there it goes. So we have a filleted sketch that's rounded all the way around. Okay, that's nice. I like that. I didn't know that. I thought I had to click on just the line and then the other line and then hit enter. It works differently in Inventor, and that's okay. It's like all of these things work close to the same with just some like minor differences, just enough to drive you mad. Okay, so that's how you could create a sketch fillet. If you're happy with that, you can actually take that sketch and you can extrude it. So if you click the extrude button after you finish the sketch, you should be able to push it out. And instead of it actually being a square, you'll actually push out this rounded shape instead. So I'm just going to click the green check mark. It doesn't really matter what this looks like. Or even better, sometimes you're going to make slots inside. So if you hit the remove button, it'll remove that specific piece inside the long block. and you now have what's called a slot. So this thing that is rounded off at the edges, that's a slot, okay? Normally, slots don't have flat edges here and here. Normally it's just rounded off all the way across. But that's okay. This particular hole punched in this piece, I'm going to call that a slot. You can also call that a window. I guess that would also work as well too. But windows usually apply to houses, but whatever. Or computer software programs that Macintosh users hate. Um, yeah, that one too. Yeah, Linux is its own little beast. Um, okay, so how about chamfer? So is everybody okay on fillet? You can use fillet with 3D, you can use fillet with 2D, and I'm going to show you guys how to use chamfer. Let's go to short block. So I'm going to click on short block, and we should have this guy. Okay, right next to the fillet button, there is a chamfer button. So I'm going to move over. See, there's fillet to the left, and then there's chamfer to the right. So it works very similarly to fillet, except instead of it being rounded, it's just like you're taking a notch off of it. It's like you're literally just like cutting a notch out, as if you had like a scraper or a chisel or something, and you just like literally hit a notch inside and hammered it in there. So go ahead and hit the chamfer button, and we're going to click on the edge. Okay, hit the chamfer button, and then we're going to click on the edge, and you should see like a tiny little notch get knocked out of the side. Okay, this is using a chamfer, and you can do that to all of the different sides. So if you click on the edge to the left, it's going to chamfer out to the left. If you click on the edge to the right, it's going to chamfer out to the right. If you click on the front edge and you already have one side chamfered, it's going to make a chamfer to the left and the right, and you create this kind of like beveled look to it. So it'll chamfer all the way around. And then if I move the view to the other side and I click on this flat part, it'll chamfer all the way around. Okay, so now you've kind of got this like faceted look, I guess, for lack of a better word, almost like the end of an eraser, pretty much. Click on the end of the sketch, and you'll be good with that one. Okay. Anybody have any questions about it? Try just one chamfer on it. I'm going to look around and see to make sure you're okay. Click on just one of your parts. It doesn't matter if you have. Yeah, that one will work. Just go ahead and chamfer that one. Did you? Yeah, you went ahead and changed the thing. Just make a chamfer on any one of them. It doesn't matter which shape you use. It's okay. We're just practicing. What did you chamfer everything? Yeah, you chamfered everything. Okay, yeah. If you chamfer everything, it's gonna make it look kind of weird. It's gonna make it look like a gemstone almost. So if you chamfer all the sides, it's gonna look angled, very much angled. Yep, there you go. You're good. Got it? Are you on the Yep. Oh, you're trying to get the shapes in? Okay. And then chamfer. Yep, we're good. Okay. Everything looks good. Looks like you guys know how to chamfer, which is, I told you guys, these are going to be two really easy buttons to use. Now, let's make a sketch. So I'm going to click on the front view. I'm going to create a sketch. So go to sketch mode, clicky clicky, and then we're going to click on the front view like this. Okay, sketch and then the front view. Don't click on this outside border. Okay, click a sketch and then the front view. And we're going to make a rectangle. People start asking like really big brain things like, Mr. Broadway, can you chamfer a circle? And the answer is no, you cannot chamfer a circle. I'm sorry. You can only chamfer edges. So if there's two edges that meet together, you can make a chamfer out of that, but you cannot chamfer something that's curved like a circle. So I'm going to click the, oh, no, I'm not done quite yet. There is a chamfer button. Can anybody find the chamfer button? There's fillet. There's, is it this one? I know what it looks like in Inventor. There should be a sketch chamfer too. Let's see here. It might be hiding in one of these menus. I could be lying to you. There's offset, slot, mirror, linear pattern. Anybody see it? Doot, doot, doot. Uh-oh. I may have lied to you. I didn't mean to lie to you, but I may have lied to you. There may not be a chamfer sketch one. It may just be fillet. Okay, never mind. So yeah, so like the probably if you want to make if you want to make a notch out of it like that, probably the easiest thing to do would be to go ahead and like extrude it as a rectangle and then use the chamfer command. If chamfer is here, I don't see it on that list. So or you could just put the chamfer in as a sketch. So if you click on the line tool, you could just manually insert the chamfer, but that requires a little bit of math knowledge. So you would have to know what distance you want it to go, and you may not necessarily like that. Okay, so you can manually input in your chamfer, but I think it's easier for us to just click the button. Um, Buttons normally make people feel better. If you just click the button and it just does it for you, that's normally what people do anyway. And remember, engineers are pretty much as lazy as they possibly can be. It's not lazy, it's efficient. So take it for what it is. Um, Now, if you try to extrude, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to extrude my rectangle. It looks like I didn't finish the sketch. I didn't connect the 2 points. So it looks like it's just extruding the whole rectangle, and I'm going to be okay with that. So if it didn't work out super well for me, that's fine. I'm going to click the chamfer button again. You've got a couple of options here. If you look down here, there's an option that says equal distance. You actually have a chance to change it to 2 other different types. So if you don't want the chamfer to be an equal distance, if you don't want the notch to be an equal distance, you can put in 2 distances instead. And distance 1 and distance 2 are going to correspond to the x direction and the y direction of the cut. So if I type in 2 different values, let's say that I make one of these zero point 0.2 and I make the other one 1. Okay, whenever I click on the chamfer and I have to hit enter on the dimensions, see what happens here? It takes the x direction and it, or that's straight down, isn't it? It takes the y direction and it makes it go down. If you didn't like that and you're like, oh crap, that is not what I wanted to do, go over to the left side where it says chamfer, right click, and then click on edit. Okay, and then you can go back in and you can just change the sizes if you want to, or there's this nice little convenient swap button, and if you swap it, it'll change the 2 directions. So if you meant for it to go long ways instead of short ways, you can click on that and it will swap it for you. This is a really easy way to make angled stuff. Instead of actually having to go in and put in the sketch hard, you could actually just make a rectangle and then chamfer out the rectangle, and that'll make your life a little bit easier. It's a way to do geometry without having to do all of the math for the geometry. Some people really like chamfer, and some people it kind of hurts your brain a little bit. So if y'all would rather prefer to do the sketch, that's fine by me. It doesn't matter. There's always a better way to do something, but there's definitely more than one right way to do something. Okay? More than one right way, but there's always a better way. And somebody can probably like see this video and they'll be like, Mr. Broadway, you really should have just done this instead. And be like, yeah, you're right. Okay, because there's always a better way to do something. So I'm going to click the green check mark and we've got our little chamfer set up here. Now we know how to make fillets. Now we know how to make chamfers. True story. Is everybody okay with those? Yes, no, maybe? We're all okay? All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to take the one of the shapes that you haven't done yet. Okay, so like either the arch or the semicircle, and I want you guys to apply a fillet and a chamfer to the shape. Okay, one fillet and one chamfer at least one fillet and at least one chamfer, and see what kind of design you can create from these basic shapes. That's what I want us to do right now, is take the fillet or chamfer, take one shape and do a fillet or a chamfer, one of each. One fillet, one chamfer. Yeah, you can do more than one if you want to, because you'll find out that if you apply a lot of fillets or a lot of chamfers, that your shapes start to get really interesting. Um, from an engineering standpoint, you normally don't want to make super weird shapes, but That's okay. Keep in mind, the more complicated it is, the harder it is to like make in real life. So if y'all are gonna make this like convoluted, weird shaped thing, uh, it might not work out in real life, but that's okay. Try a couple of things out and see what happens. These are how you use fillets and chamfers. And there's all sorts of different ways that they can be done. And I'm looking around the room and I see lots of different style, shapes, and sizes that can be made with the chamfer and the fillet button. And it makes all sorts of kind of stuff. Some of them look like weird half pipes. Some of them look, I don't even know what that is. Yeah, I know it used to be an arch, but I don't know what I would call that now. A super weird bridge, or maybe like a bracket. I could see it kind of be a bracket. What have you done? What is that? Is that an assembly? Wait, what did you do that with? Did you make that with the cylinder? You literally made a sword just with the cylinder. Short block. You made a sword out of short block. Dude, y'all if y'all want to see a sword out of short block done with fillets and chamfers, go look over at Orange Table. That was done just completely with fillets and chamfers, and that can be done. Like that's the weird thing about it. That's efficiency right there. It's like, what'd you make? I made a sword. What'd you start with? A block. Okay, well, that's that's real. That's a real thing. That's efficiency. Okay, nice. That's a good one. I think y'all are pretty much okay with this. I don't think this is really hurting y'all too bad, right? Okay, good. These are like y'all should like feel free to always use the fillet and feel free to use the chamfer. I told you guys the hardest thing is to make yourself pronounce fillet as fillet and not fillet. Okay, because a fillet is a fish and a fillet is what we're doing here. It's a 3D design, right? So you're just having to unlearn what you just learned. Yeah, do it. Well, that's okay. I mean, look, you got a fillet on one side and you got a chamfer on the other side. Congratulations, you know how to fillet and chamfer. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And I think with that, I think that's all I wanted to like teach you guys today. I think I can maybe move on to the next thing. Um, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.